Hey loves, how are you? It's been a few weeks, so today we're gonna do an inner union check-in. And this is where I do the seven chakra pull on the inner masculine energies and then a seven chakra pull on the inner feminine and how they kind of weave together, and then we pull on the heart space. These energies on this channel are intended for you to be looking at them from an internal inner union perspective, first and foremost, but then also obviously interweaving the external energies or mirrors that are in and a part of your life. Okay. So, that brings me really, really quick to something I wanted to share with you guys because the energies for me are significantly changing as the channel is growing. And the last message that I did for the divine and sacred masculine energies, a lot of that was actually coming through for me over a few days, because of experiences and I was having, but also downloads I was being shown. So it was a combo of things. And I was set to come on and speak to you guys in a linear fashion about my experience. And when I sat down to record that video, literal words, like I couldn't even remember the word for circumcision. Okay. Like it was taken right out of my awareness. And for me, that's a signal that those messages, it might not be time to share that part of the messages. Okay. Because there's still things being integrated. And then in retrospect, when I just let go and allowed my higher self to guide the words and the messages where we're co creating collectively, what happens is it allows for the messages that are going to be the most important for you in that moment. So, yes, it's a form of channeling, so to speak, but not in your typical some other energy is taking over and I'm not connected with the messages at all. These are very different types of experiences that I share here because they are coming from personal and professional experiences combined with the energetics that I'm receiving or the downloads I'm receiving, because my main goal is to embody as much as possible and then learn how to share these messages and downloads in a way that we can actually take forth in our life, not just these energies that are high in the sky, disconnected away. Like I'm my goal is to bring them in a very grounded, stabilized way that we can actually start to work with in a physical 3D manner, becoming these energies that we've been wanting to become first and foremost for ourselves. So when these messages come through, if you are not seeing them in the external world, that's okay because the messages and the energy I work at are at the very forefront, like like where we are in terms of where humanity is moving towards. Okay. So those of you here with me, please realize we're like at the forefront of this shift. So a majority of the world is not going to reflect at this time what we're doing because we're on the leading edge. Okay. That's a beautiful thing though. Okay. So with that, you take what I'm sharing, obviously discern it for yourself. If it doesn't resonate, please just leave it. If it's overloading or not making sense, or there's pockets that just feel kind of blank for you, go sit with it, connect with your higher self and your inner truth. Oftentimes, for myself, when I hit pockets like that, I'm finding that that has been opened up so I can go explore and receive more information for myself. It helps me integrate and retrieve those parts of myself and allows things to expand in a very organic internal way. Okay. So always follow your guidance. You might even find in moments if my messages or the energies coming through aren't absorbing in that moment, it could be because there's other things for you to process first, or it just might not be for you at that time and you don't need to go down that rabbit hole. Just honor whatever comes for you. Okay, I'm going to keep showing up here as long as I'm guided but you have the freedom to discern whatever way of interacting with it works for you the best. Okay, loves. So, yes, I'm also noticing since there's so many more of you, like I was having hundreds of views and now I'm having thousands of views. So the messages are coming in a way that's going to be the most beneficial for those of you that are showing up. So I'm also finding that maybe some of these messages I thought I was going to sit and share in 1 minute, they're coming in over multiple messages. So it's more digestible and absorbable because these are very big, high level, layered messages with lots of opportunity within them. Okay. And I'm sharing this because this is part of my internal union journey. This is pushing me to my next levels, working with all of you, because it's really learning that it's not always about my linear logical experience. It's about being able to surrender and to let go of what I thought that was supposed to be and just trusting that the messages are going to come through in a way that makes sense for the most of you. Okay. I hope that makes sense. But now we're going to dive into that. Thanks for being patient with me. But I feel like there's a lot in that. One, for you to just connect with yourself, but also to understand how I'm navigating the energies. And I'm learning to navigate the new energies as we go. Each time new people subscribe to the channel, it actually adds to the overall energetic field. So, welcome and thank you all for being here and bringing your gorgeous energy here. All right. Okay. Let's check in with where the internal, external masculine energies are. However, you choose to perceive this. You may want to watch it a few times or both. So, what I do is I pick the seven, look at the energies, and then share them how they come through. All right. Those of you who have done one on one sessions with me with this reading, you've had the experience, and there's so much in them. That's why I turned it into a whole live inner union reading session. Okay. So, in the root chakra of the masculine side, what is coming forward with this Three of Wands energy is that there is a stabilizing into the energies and igniting of the passions. But there's also this still point energy that's coming through that the internal masculine energies are waiting for that perfect moment to go run and jump on that wave. But there is very much a sense to me that this is in process, that the energies, the ignition, the activations are taking place all the way down into the roots. And the sacral chakra on the masculine side, we have this Five of Pentacles, which is telling me that there's still some grieving process that's taking place or in need of taking place. And as that dissolves, as it's processed, that key ignites. And then it feels to me energetically, as this energy in the sacral chakra is processed, it's going to allow for that energy in the movement to come forward, grounding into the root chakra. So it feels like there's almost just like a membrane of this. And of course, there's still going to be things to process through life. But for this particular stream of energy, it's feeling like there's like this last membrane to kind of allow this wave to ground in. Okay. And it's mirrored in the solar plexus that there's definitely grieving on the masculine side, pretty significantly in the lower chakras. Okay. But if you notice, if you look at these, it's like pretty dark, pretty dismal. It's getting lighter. The light is starting to shine. And now it's like really moving into the lighter energies, like head is lifting, standing. There's definitely a shift within this. And it's coming through that as the density and the heaviness of the cloudiness of the grief is lifting. It's allowing that higher self and light to start to shine through. And it's coming through that this is a lot of those clouds within the subconscious where those energies and information was suppressed in the way of moving forward to survive in the moment. But now that the energies are more stable collectively for the masculines, and especially the feminines are much more stable, it's allowing our internal masculine and external masculine the opportunity to process from the masculine perspective. Okay. So, those of you on this inner union journey, you may start to notice that you've grieved things in like you've grieved certain perspectives or certain experiences, and they might come back up, and you find that there's more grief and you're kind of surprised, but you may notice that it's a totally different perspective and part of you that was kind of frozen off in the past. And I think that it's kind of typical that it's our masculine side that freezes first because our masculine side goes into protective mode. Our masculine energies are what protect us. So they wall off and freeze off and cut off things in that immediate moment of survival so that we're not so overloaded that we can't handle what's happening, right? Because you guys know that in these connections, these energies, especially when we're going back to triggerings within the core wound, it's just too much for us to handle all at once when it's evoked and triggered and activated in that manner. And that's why one of my next videos is going to be around the soul merge and the Helios Gamos experience that happens in these twin flame divine counterpart journeys, because they are exceedingly intense. And so this to me is mirroring a bit of that, but it feels like those that have been on the journey for a while, it's getting to the point where some of those parts that were frozen back at the beginning of the separations in the physical are starting to thaw out and be processed from the masculine energies. So in our internal masculine energies in the external masculine, okay? And in the heart space, we have this Page of Pentacles. And this feels very beautiful in the heart space to me because it's one, very grounded, um, but yet still in process of integrating and it's like coming up from the earth, but at the same and like letting it's almost like it's giving me this like superhero kind of popping up out of the earth, but then I can sense that she's got the gifts of all of this energy that she's been learning, right? In the lower chakras and kind of waking up. And in this process of sprouting, right? But what's actually coming through is like this sprouting up above the earth and beginning to open up, right? This bud right here is definitely going to continue to open. And what I'm sensing energetically is as the heart space feels safer to open, the legs are going to come down on the earth and actually root even deeper. They're actually showing me the banyan tree. If any of you guys know those trees, they kind of send out um almost like branches, but the branches grow roots and then the roots grow down and create more energies within, almost like a stump, like the stump, it keeps growing outward. I'm going to Florida next week, y'all. So they're on my mind, okay? And they're definitely that sense and that energy that those trees, they expand out and become more and more stabilized and anchored and strong. And that's what I'm sensing as the legs ground, as the masculine internal external energies get their sea legs with being able to handle processing the grief without freezing it off and feel safe and comfortable enough to allow that process. There's going to be a significant amount of stabilization and growth within the heart space that is going to allow for heart opening in an open way that many times we used to maybe consider vulnerable. But the beautiful energy that's coming through is that it's going to feel stable and strong. So the internal, external masculine energies are going to feel safe and stable in opening their heart in vulnerable ways that don't feel unsafe. Okay. Because a lot of times we equated vulnerable with feeling unsafe. But there's difference. This is moving from that unsafe, vulnerable feeling to the willingness and ability to feel safe and dropping into more intimacy. Okay. Beautiful. And for the feminines here watching this, this is important for us to cultivate in deeper ways within our energies because our feminine, internal feminine energies may be open and open-hearted and vulnerable and open to intimacy, but I would like you to truly drop into checking in with your internal masculine and where you may still be holding protective mechanisms. That just came through because it's something I myself have had to check myself on and work on, especially over the last few months. Okay. So that wanted to come through for you specifically. All right, loves. And this, I love it because as we move into the throat chakra, this to me is like, it's almost like within this beautiful heart space, as this blossoms, you see how it's like at the core of it, it's this pentacle, right? There's so much more to it, but it's like as this opens, the throat, the heart, the communication is going to begin to come through in the physical world. There's going to be some physical world communication taking root from the masculines. Okay. This, it's almost like now I'm seeing it. It's like it's coming in and grounding in and syncing up. Oh, this makes total sense with what I just said about the roots. I wasn't even paying attention to this card when that came through. But to me, now it's just really signaling how much this is going to be strengthening. And I also want to acknowledge that when my messages come through, yes, they're in the moment that I'm sharing them, but I'm noticing that the energies that I bring through on the channel are things we're working on collectively and we're strengthening in over weeks, months, and even into years. Okay. Because I'm noticing some of the messages I shared a year ago are coming through in a different spiral this year because we've stable. It's like if we were planting the seeds a year ago, we're starting to stabilize into those seeds now. So if you're not seeing these exact things in this exact moment, remember these messages like 6 months to a year from now, and then be like, oh my gosh, now I'm starting to actually see the fruits of the labor of what we're doing collectively. Okay. So that felt like an important piece to kind of have that perspective. Okay. And in the third eye, we have the Seven of Swords. So to me, this is speaking about this illumination that's coming through. And it's all weaved through this. It's what's coming through is what's being shown to the masculine energies, our internal, external, is where there was the defense mechanisms against potential betrayals, which oftentimes played out as external betrayals and the self betrayals or the worries of betrayals. And there's light being shown on situations where there wasn't actually any betrayal, but there was a perceived betrayal. And now this is starting to get illuminated and the darkness is starting to clear out. The clouds are starting to clear. But this is what's triggering some of this grief because there's this realization that there was some decisions made on what was the logical experience from what they knew in the past, that instinctual protective mechanism, and now realizing it actually wasn't necessary because it was really just that, a protective mechanism that actually froze them off from receiving the full truth and the love and the energy that they were wanting. But they're going through this thawing out process, which is it's an important part because one, it means that they're starting to see more of the actual truth, but it's also allowing a healing of those defense mechanisms in a more healthy way so that they can have the actual protection. We can have the actual protection from our masculine versus the walls and the ice and the running and the the freezing that we had in the past because it was the only thing we knew how to do to protect ourselves. So this thawing is a very, very exceedingly important process for all of us. Okay. And so it takes time to thaw and integrate. Okay. And process. But what's fueling all of this in the crown is that 10 of Cups energy, the remembrance of these energies, of the contracts, of the dream, of why we're actually here. Our original core soul blueprint is coming in and igniting these energies. Okay. And you see what I'm saying? It's like coming in, it's illuminating it, bringing it to the surface. And as it's processed and cleared and stabilized in the lower chakras, it's allowing it to move back up in through the higher chakras once again. Okay, re-establishing these deeper connections that we were activated within when we had our original soul merges. Okay. All right. Now let's see what else wants to come through for the feminine side. Oh, a lot. I guess the feminines are processing some processing, but that didn't want to all come out. It was just showing us how much we're moving through. All right. Okay, feminines, let's get some clear, direct messages. The feminines clearly have a lot to say today. Wow. Okay. All right. I gotcha. I feel like that makes sense. There's almost like 20 things processing at once. Okay. But they're getting clarity. The feminine sides are getting clarity. Okay. Wow. Oh, I didn't even see that there was two. So in the root chakra, the feminines are doing some deeper healing. Um, I'm feeling actually a little bit of some frozen energies in the feminine side in the root chakra. And it feels like this makes sense though. It's like where the two are harmonizing, there's some thawing, holding space, waiting for that time to be able to move forward. So I can see where both the internal feminine and masculine sides are strengthening to be able to be ready to fully ground and move forward in the physical world. But right now, at the core of it, this feels very deep and core to me. I just have to share that. That there is this beautiful, it feels actually really beautiful healing happening to me as this thawing, as this space and grace to allow the healing to occur. We've been learning how to allow these processes and understanding that they need space. This is something you're going to continue to hear from me as I continue to bring forth these messages. Yes, I know I come on pretty often because there's so much that we're doing. I want to support that. But we are also wanting within that, as we're absorbing and processing, to give everything space to actually process and ground. It's like you can't force this seed to be ready to root and to sprout, right? We have to allow it to happen naturally. And that's what I feel like is happening. Like there's a lot of hibernation and processing happening internally that's going to allow these seeds to sprout and take root. And when they do, they're going to be exceedingly strong. Something is coming through that I want to share with you guys. It's come through multiple times this week with multiple people, myself included. Some of the things we were working on just about a year ago, many people noticed that they started working on things and then it seemed like they got sidetracked. And now, a year later, they're coming back around. The message that came through was that we were ready in a lot of ways to start to ground things in. But as we started to ground them in collectively, we realized the foundation wasn't purified enough. It wasn't cleared up enough. And so we allowed for another year of processing into the shadows and purifying the physical bodies and the emotions so that we could actually stabilize these energies into the physical world. And I feel like there's some that are still going through this in a very big, broad way. And there's some of you who have done it and you've learned this process well enough that you're starting to be able to harvest from the seeds you've planted. So we're all in different stages of this, but this is why it's so important to not push yourself if you're not ready to sprout out yet. If there's still places and spaces where you're needing to be in hibernation, allow it. You're going to know when it's time to come out, okay? And in this sacral chakra and the feminine side, we have this death to rebirth process. But what's really standing out to me is just connected with what I just said. As this transformational process is happening, you're going to know when it's time to ignite that light. Like it's building internally, it's strengthening, it's building. And when it's time, it's going to come forward. It's going to burst forth, and you're not going to be able to hold it back. Okay. So it's also finding this way to dance with the energies and become aware of knowing, like, oh, I think it's almost ready to sprout. So you're not holding yourself back when it's unnecessary, but you're like at that position of being ready to go when it's time to go. Okay. So it's this very beautiful dance. And the feminine, internal and external feminine energies are bringing forth that energy of flow and being able to dance with the extremes. Okay. And in the solar plexus, we have this temperance. And it's speaking to me how our internal feminines are so much more, and external, but are so much more balanced and harmonized and tempered in the energies that it's allowing us to go to these next levels and layers of thawing deeper into those core wounds and into those pockets of the subconscious, because deep in the heart space, how strong the internal feminine energies have gotten. And these energies continue to temper and strengthen because of the willingness to do the work on the internal masculine side as well. And for the masculines here on the channel, I've been seeing your messages and receiving your requests for sessions, and I'm looking forward to those because I'm really excited to see so many masculines really wanting to embody into their own internal divine masculine essences and being aware of the inner union side of things. Okay. So it's as the feminines and the masculines are doing this tempering, strengthening work, we're helping one another. And the internal energies are definitely strengthening so much within the collective feminines, in the internal feminine energies. It's allowing the masculines to go to their next steps and stages. Like I said, it's a reflection of what's happening internally in the feminines. It's occurring externally in the masculines as well. Yes, it's their internal process too, but again, these messages are coming through and so important. So for the feminines here who have been tempering and strengthening, what you're doing and what you've been working with is showing results. And now you're ready to go deeper into healing your own internal masculine energies, strengthening, supporting those parts of you. And in the throat chakra of the feminines, we had two cards come out, and it was the new beginning and the Seven of Pentacles. And to me, it's signifying where these seeds have been planted. The feminines are now helping to support from their new foundation and their new beginning, and their willingness to step into the new and the unknown in blind faith is allowing now the feminines to feed and nurture the seeds from a different perspective. As the feminines are feeling safer in their own grounded energies, they're also starting to allow themselves to receive support and higher light from the masculine energies. To me, this is coming through as the divine masculine essences internally and externally, finally being able to share their love and energy to help fertilize the seeds as well. Because you all know it takes a masculine and a feminine to bring forth life and creation on this planet, whether it's your internal energies building a creation or actually literally creating another human being, right? It takes a man and a woman to do that. Okay. So it feels like the feminines are softening to allow themselves to receive from internal and external masculine energies because they are feeling much more tempered and harmonized and strong within themselves. And if you're not quite there yet, just know this is a beautiful pocket to start to let yourself thaw in. Okay. And in the third eye, we have this 5 of Wands. I'm just like, I'm slowing down because the message is coming through. It's like, as the feminines were reaching to pull in the dream, it's allowing it to pull closer and closer for the internal masculine. So, in this inner union energies, the feminines are pulling in the energies from the higher source, and the masculine side is receiving it and grounding it. Okay. You see, it's like pulling it in, working together. Boom, the masculines are strengthening in it and allowing it to process. Love it. It's like the feminines are like, okay, I'm going to pull in my 5 of Cups, right? And then the masculines can pull in theirs. In the crown chakra, we have the hangman, which to me is signifying bringing in that new perspective. It's like your higher self has it, it's grabbing it, pulling it in, and allowing you to bring the messages into the third eye, where you're interpreting and working on them, and then grounding them into the new beginning, letting yourself receiving them, falling into them, planting and growing the seeds, which is allowing for this strengthening in the heart, the tempering in the solar, the death to rebirth process. And to me now, this is coming through as an awakening. It's like, okay, now this process is coming out and you're ready to come out of the hibernation. This feminine comes out of hibernation, that signals to the masculine it's go time for him to begin to thaw in his own unique and beautiful way, opening up and thawing out the remembrance of the 10 of Pentacles, bringing in the light to allow the thawing to happening. As it thaws, the seeds start to sprout. As they sprout, it grows up bigger and broader from the earth, allowing this opening to happen, activating the higher self, bringing in the keys and the codes that are necessary to move forward on the next steps of the journey. Love it, love it, love it. And now, really quickly, we're just going to pull some cards on the shared heart space between the internal masculine and feminine. And you can obviously take it as the external as well. And here we go. Huh. I'm just going to leave it right there. We have the 4 of Wands. As the energies are balancing internally, it's in as we're stabilizing and allowing ourselves to dance and weave the inner union and dance and interweave the outer union energies. It's allowing this deeper harmonization to take place within our hearts, within our own pillars, within our own direct connections to source and to the earth. And I can feel as I'm speaking this message where, as individuals, the strengthening process is like allowing these seeds to start to take root in a safe, contained way, but a way that is fruitful and expansive enough that everyone feels comfortable to grow and build within it. Okay. What is coming through energetically is that the feminines have let go of control and learning how to be in flow and surrender. and the masculines are doing a version of their own same thing. This energy is mirroring to me really quickly in my system where both sides, both masculine and feminine, are learning how to free themselves, to allow their intuitions to guide them. Both sides are learning how to be more stable and safe and connected to the earth. And that's allowing them to feel more comfortable in their intuition. They're allowing themselves as individuals to feel more free and comfortable in their sovereignty, in their truth. And there's like this weaving in this dance that's happening, like as we're allowing our own internal masculine and feminine energies to dance in our heart space, guiding us both logically and intuitively in the physical world and in the higher realms, and working with all of those parts of ourselves in a very unified way. um it's allowing space for ourselves to be completely who we are, that we are making more space to manifest one another in each other's physical manifested reality. Okay. But it starts with holding that space for all of who you actually are. Because if you're not fully embodying, well, it's not a full complete, but you get like you want at least enough space for you to embody yourself, or at least knowing when you're needing more space. Okay. Because once you get that kind of rhythm down and you're comfortable holding space for yourself, well, now you know you're ready to sustain and maintain an intense, gorgeous connection in the physical world because you're sustaining it for yourself. Because you yourself, as an individual, have immense, gorgeous, beautiful energy and power. So when you can handle your own, now you know you can open up to connecting with and encountering and exchanging with another powerful being. All right, loves. Love this. Beautiful. It probably got a little bit long, but that's okay. I'm gonna drop in the comments, or yeah, I'm gonna drop in the comments my one-on-one schedule for those of you who might be interested in doing a session with me. I do have these inner union reading sessions available and other goodies if you want to check those out. I love you. I look forward to speaking with you soon, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, loves. Take care. Of course, you know I would love to hear from you if you have something to share. Love you. Bye.